Hello my dear fashion enthusiasts, I'm thrilled to welcome you back. Today we're diving together into the heart of the Shinyakozuka Spring Summer 2027 show at Milan Fashion Week. For his big official debut on the Milanese runways, the Japanese designer is catching everyone off guard. Where we expected his signature somber melancholy, he delivers a collection of a luminous, almost intimate softness. It's a bold choice for Milan, swapping sharp tailoring or loud streetwear for everyday poetry. Personally, this clean break works beautifully because it dares to expose true vulnerability. The light is diffused, almost cotton-like. It feels like being suspended in a painter's grand white studio in the early morning. In fact, ask yourselves, what does your world look like when you first open your eyes before putting on your glasses or contacts? It's precisely this impression of a blurred reality, a familiar setting with fading edges, that Shinya Kozuka wanted to recreate. We are literally immersed in a waking dream, a visual wander where the urban landscape becomes a sensory abstraction. To fuel this ambitious approach, the designer drew directly from his daily life in Tokyo. He photographed his own neighborhood, later translating those landscapes into watercolor motifs. The garment is no longer a rigid armor, it becomes a tool of perception. Kozuka uses artistic blur not to hide, but to reveal the beauty of ordinary moments, turning everyday nearsightedness into an ultra-poetic filter. On the runway, the models move at a suspended, almost nonchalant pace. You feel a slowed-down stride, the posture of a solitary observer. The silhouette refuses to tip over into something too slouchy thanks to impeccable cutting, but the overall look remains incredibly airy. The element structuring the entire attitude this season? It's those sculptural avant-garde hats, created in collaboration with the legendary Stephen Jones, crowning and shaping these vaporous silhouettes, as if to give them a grounding anchor. Technically, everything seems to rely on a rather fascinating play of asymmetric deconstruction. Can you feel it too, this disconnect between structure and disappearance? Looking closely at the lines of the overshirts, you notice that the left side literally melts into a translucent organza, while the back is split down the middle, revealing the spine or a fine layering of knitwear. We are witnessing a way of exposing construction in its most honest and fragile form. The color palette opens with a refreshing mint green, washed whites, and very soft organic hues. But the true visual impact comes from the fabrics. Kozuka opposes ultra-lightweight nylon parkas and sheer overpants with much more physical pieces. On long coats and premium wool jumpsuits, we discover bold, textured brushstrokes painted by hand. The fabric absorbs and diffuses light with an astonishing subtlety, giving the impression that the garment has already lived several lives. When you get a little closer to the pieces, you discover details of an infinite delicacy that break up the technicality of the layering. I'm thinking particularly of those sparrow embroideries hidden on the Airy fabrics. It's a deeply intimate nod to a traditional childhood melody dear to the designer. Isn't this exactly the kind of quiet poetry that makes a piece instantly endearing, far from loud, flashy logos? The show is built like a crescendo of textures, moving from fluid pajama sets and casual Bermudas to increasingly complex plays of tie-dye layering and crinkled patchwork. The climax unfolds during the final passages, where silhouettes are adorned with veils of organza layered over tailored shorts. It's a finale of raw lightness, an almost impalpable textile apotheosis that leaves a genuine emotion suspended in the air. But what is it worth once outside the spotlight? Let's be real, an untrained eye might see an accumulation of sheer layers that are tough to wear every day rather than a deliberate creative statement. For my part, I remain a bit skeptical about real life when it comes to these translucent overpants or completely open backs. Outside the runway or a magazine editorial, the line between poetic allure and a just rolled out of bed effect is razor thin, and requires absolute confidence to pull off. What we take away from this vision is that Shinya Kozuka successfully aced his Milanese debut by setting his own tempo. He marks a major milestone for his house, proving that menswear can break free from performance or social status to explore pure sensitivity without losing its anchor in contemporary luxury. Does this aesthetic of the blur and these sheer layers win you over? Or do you find it too conceptual for a summer menswear wardrobe? Tell me honestly in the comments. I want to see the debate down there. Thank you so much for sharing this analysis with me. To sharpen your eye before the next video, have fun observing how technical garments are now incorporating transparency in current collections. It's a major trend taking hold. I wish you an excellent viewing for the rest of the show. See you very soon for a new analysis.